To Tug Valley, this is going to, if you don't mind us doing a little interview here.
Oh, no, not at all.
Put it on our webpage.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into playing. I mean, did you take lessons as a kid?
It was something that I knew I would do. I just didn't know to what level. And I always had an interest in it. I played drums when I was 5, and actually the sisters that I talked about, the convent in my backyard during the program, actually the one sister taught me drums that taught the band. So she was nice enough to take me down in the convent and teach me the drums there when I was about 8 years old. And it just from there it just progressed. But I always had my mother sang beautifully in a choir, and she played just very, very couple of bars on a piano and a couple of bars on a violin too. But my father enjoyed music too. He liked listening. He said he always played the radio.
Did you play in a band, a high school band or anything like that?
Yeah. You know, that was the late 60s, early 70s boom. So everybody was in a band, even if they weren't in a band. They said they were. You know, it was the boom, the Beatles and all that stuff.
You met our president Paul here, didn't you?
Paul? I didn't know you were the president.
You're our president, Paul.
Yeah. We spoke momentarily. Yes.
Okay.
Loved While Your Guitar Gently Weeps.
Oh, thanks.
That's my kind of music. And
oh, yeah. Well, I
great job.
Great job. Thank you very much.
Where are you headed to next?
Tomorrow I'm going to Roanoke, and then I'm performing at Newport News on Saturday for their fall festival there. And then I go home for a little bit.
How many performances a year would you say you do?
You know, it's pretty hard to say because I do schools and I also do, theaters like this and some private functions. So I'd say in the neighborhood of, I'd say around 250 to 300.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, not all a large caliber like this, you know.
Well, speaking of caliber like this, what do you think of our little arts council?
Pardon me?
What do you think of our little arts council?
I think it's great. It's really great. Like I said, for the way the economic is, the situation and so forth, to still have things like this, it's really astounding that arts councils are still functioning. You're still going. It's great. You have a great series. It's a great lineup that I've seen on the brochure, and I wish I could be there because these people I just see maybe once or twice a year. You know,
run across on the road maybe.
Yeah. At conventions.
Number 9, I can see some men gathering as the fog takes its time. Well, there's wives and kids off to the side, and they're waving as they go. There must be 350 of them coming down the road. So I hollered out to one of them, "Hey, what you marching for?" He said, "We're marching out of this town and on the Latimer." Said, "We're marching up for liberty in the land of the brave and free." He said, "I'm sick of living my life."
Kids are great.
I was up here for a part of it. I counted about 170 kids out there. Is that about right?
The high school
and some middle school too?
Most of middle school. Some of them weren't.
They were great. I asked them questions. I tell them a little history of different instruments, and I happened to have the fiddle and violin, and went into some detail about it. And then I asked questions. Who remembers what this is called? What's that called? And if they get it right, they get to come up on stage to play.
Oh.
So it's kind of a bribery thing, and it worked. And then I brought up 2 other students, and I taught them a very simple clogging step. and where
That's
that
great.
originated from. Yeah. They were,
I guess you know the old joke about the difference between a violin and a fiddle, don't you?
No, no.
A fiddle has 4 strings, and a violin has 4 strings, and a fiddle has 4 strings.
Oh, yeah.
Friends, they left their country. They spoke only broken English, enough words to get by, and at the age of 12 and 14 got on a boat, crossed the Atlantic, and came over here to work in the coal mines to become slate pickers. Those of you not familiar with the slate picker's position in the coal mines, on top of the coal mine, and you're probably familiar with this, but on top of the coal mine is the breaker. Coming out of the breaker would be a big long chute. Coal would come down that chute, and mixed in with coal would be slate. Naturally, the slate doesn't burn, so the boys' job for 10 or 12 hours a day is they would put boards across this chute, and they would sit on these boards, and they would pick the slate out. And they would do that for 6 cents an hour. Now the thing is, I know you're going to say back then you could get more for 6 cents an hour, but still, out of that paycheck at the end.
Well, accommodations and everything okay?
Oh, it was great. What a great place. Yeah, it reminds me of my hometown a little bit, only larger.
Oh, this is larger than
Oh,
her.
yeah.
Well, I'm from a little place on up the road called Matewan. You talk about coal mining history. There was a movie out called Matewan, about the Matewan massacre. The Baldwin Felts guys came in to try to move the miners out of their homes, and the miners had the sheriff on their side. This time, Hatfield was
What
his
year
name.
would that have been about?
1920? 1921.
Okay, so it's a while back then.
Yeah, but if you can find that movie, it's still out and about. It's become more of a cult movie now.
How is mate spelled?
M-A-T-E,
M-A-T-E.
W-A-N, Matewan.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you're interested in coal mining, that's a good thing to look into, Matewan.
Well, we had, the Molly McGuires in our area. I don't know if you're familiar with them, what they were.
Yeah.
But there was a movie out called The Molly McGuires, and that was made in the Jim Thorpe area during the, I'd say, early 70s or maybe 70-ish, and Sean Connery and Richard Harris starred in that. And friends of mine were actually extras in the movies as kids and so forth. And,
That's great.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, it's been really good having you here in Williamson
my
and Tug
honor.
Valley, and
My honor.
hope we're able
Good
to bring
night,
you back
ladies.
again
Thank you for
sometime.
coming. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
It's a good night, good night, I bid you good night. Good night, I bid you good night. Yeah, good night. Once be for the beast at the end of the world. Good night, good night. Solomon, up all the boys and the girls with a good night, I bid you good night. Good night, I bid you good night. Yeah, good night. Lay down, my good sisters, lay down and take your rest. Lay your head on down upon your Savior's breast. I love you, Jesus loves you the best, and I bid you good night. Good night, I bid you good night. Good night, I bid you good night. Good night, I bid you good night. Yeah, good night. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for letting me play for. Thank you, Tug Valley Arts Council. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Thanks for coming out on Tuesday.